Alright, people, here we go. Hope you're ready for this. Go track down Mercer Frey and Bethardables, or whatever the name of this dwarven ruin is. Way too many B's and Z's, if you ask me. Not near enough vowels. But we have apparently narrowed down where he's at. We believe he's going after the eyes of the Falmer, and that they're located in this, in the bottom of this dwarven ruin. Of course, it's going to require us to go through the entire place looking for him, right? That ought to be interesting. It's probably going to be more than a one-part video here, because this is a pretty long quest. One of my favorites in the game. I actually like this. Lots of loot to be had, and lots of challenges to face. And oh well, that's a good start. And spawn into a snow bear. Actually, these things aren't near as bad as they used to be. There was a time where these guys could one-shot us. No, I don't think so. Now I think they can only 2 or 3 shot us. It's still pretty bad though. I will take that pelt, though. Make some leather out of that. Anything smithing related, I'll start concentrating on my smithing a little bit. In fact, once all this is said and done, I think we should have plenty of loot to go sell. Go do a little more training in my light armor. Need some more of that. I'm just not taking a lot of hits. Can't take a lot of hits. Notice just about everything we've run into, especially here lately, can one-shot us. Most of the Falmer, we're fixing to run into a lot of Falmer here. They can all one-shot us, literally, with the bow or with a one-handed weapon. They don't even need two-handers, these guys. It's going to be a lot of, what are this, shadow stalkers, shadow hunters, whatever. Not even lurkers. I think they've all scaled above that. Well, you'll see. You'll see. Lots of high-level Falmer here we're going to run into. And so it's going to be pretty much a shooting gallery. And bad news is we cannot take Uthgard with us. But the good news is, unlike some other quests that you might do in certain quest lines, they're not just making you do all the impossible stuff completely by yourself. Is that Karliah and Brynjolf are both willing to get their hands dirty. And that says something for them as NPCs, because in a lot of quests and a lot of games, it's like NPCs can't even wipe their own butt for themselves. They need you to hold the toilet paper for them type of thing. They're completely useless, and you have to go do everything for them. Well, at least Brynjolf and Karliah are coming along. You know, they want all this vengeance and everything on Mercer. They're at least willing to go get it. Well, I guess we are just going to go toe-to-toe with this bear. Nice. What a difference, huh? I think he hit me, what, twice there? And I'm not dead. 3 shots might have got me. But, there you go. Back to light armor. I really do want to do some more training. Get my light armor up. We'll get a decent bonus for wearing a matching set. You get a bonus for wearing all light armor, and then you get another bonus for wearing a complete matching set of it. And if we can get our rating high enough to where we can at least take 1 shot from things, give us an opportunity at least to get out of the way. Because like as it is, any really high-level Draugr and high-level Falmer and some of these dragons with their really, really bad breath, they can take us down really, really fast. If not 1 shot, really close. I know the Draugrs with the two-handers. You show me a Draugr Deathlord with a two-handed ebony sword, that's 1 shot. I'm not even going to sit there and take a shot to find out. I already know what it is. But there may be a point later in the game where we can at least take that first hit. We'll be hurt severely, but we can at least take it. Give us an opportunity to get out of the way, or shout them, shout them out of our face or something. All right, so here we are at, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this place, but, defended by bandits outside, and of course when we get inside, deeper in, be lots and lots of Falmer to contend with. Maybe even a few dwarven constructs. This being a Thieves Guild mission, there's no shame in sneaking a little bit. Alright, so Uthgard's going to be out of the picture. As soon as I walk in the doors here, she's going to be sent home, I guess, until we come out the other side. We actually passed the cave, where we'll be leaving this ruin. On our way over here, it was down there with all the pipes running out of it. On the side of the river or the lake there, whatever. So that's actually our exit once all this is said and done. This is a pretty extensive complex here. Pretty big. Not the biggest, but pretty big. Now this particular ruin, a bit like Markarth in a way, is a lot of it's above ground. This is a a pretty big complex up topside. This could make a small town if somebody decided to settle here. I wouldn't suggest it because I know what's down below. Of course, now that we're going in to clear the place out, it's a thought. It'd be really, really cool if they had that feature in the game where once you cleared out a dwarven ruin that you could claim it. If they really wanted to get super realistic, you could pay like fees and tariffs and taxes or what have you on the place to whatever reach it or whatever hold it belonged to the Jarl, so that you could claim the place and use it as a place of commerce and stuff. And I'm getting to some stuff that they're probably going to introduce in Fallout 4. But wouldn't that have been cool is you could create a settlement in Skyrim from old dwarven ruins or old bandit camps. You could maybe even claim like an old fort or something and take that for yourself. I'm sure they considered that when they put the game out, and maybe there was just too much to that. Okay, I need to be careful, or this bandit on the other side of this fence is going to take me out right here and now. Wish you could silent roll sideways. It's actually something of an evasive maneuver, sort of. If Skyrim had dodge rolling, that'd be friggin' amazing. That'd be absolutely amazing. I want an Elder Scrolls game with all the combat of a, say like a martial arts game. I mean, even if you're using magic, if you're going to be something of a melee fighter, you know, not everything is... I mean, you have your bow, right? And with magic, you have your staff, but for, you know, close-in stuff like swords and axes and stuff, or even some of the, you know, like with your spells you had your wards and stuff that you could throw up and stuff like that. Anyway, whatever. It'd be cool if you could dodge roll, and there was actually a mechanic in there where you could evade things, like Dark Souls or something. They even had, well, they even had it in Mass Effect 3, to an extent, sort of. Inquisition, Dragon Age Inquisition had it. They introduced that, and it was a great mechanic. I love that. I love being able to evade and dodge. It requires some timing and some skill, as in that regards. That you can get away with. You can even... I would love it to where you could even frustrate your enemies. I would love to see a game go so far as to draw extra threat from an enemy once you've evaded several of his attacks, because he gets pissed off. And so if you were... it'd be a great mechanic if you were playing something of a tank. If you were playing someone, you know, more of a paladin type, or, you know, knight type, where you could actually dodge, roll, and evade and taunt your enemies that way. Anyway, all right, I'm getting off into that. But it'd be really cool if the silent roll had a kind of something other than being able to cover more ground. It's basically like being able to sprint while you're sneaking. Sometimes it doesn't work for some reason, but most of the time, if you can just hold down the sprint button while you're sneaking, you'll continually dodge roll and or silent roll, and it's faster. You can actually cover quite a bit of ground. I do get out of trouble sometimes with that, but it'd be neat if it had an evasion mechanic also. Alright, and no, we haven't changed the difficulty. Yes, we are still playing Legendary, and we're getting to the point where we can do some one-shotting ourselves, at least of the lesser mobs. Of course, I still have the higher level bandits cussing me out from above. I guess we'll get to her in a minute. Collect all this loot along the way. I did upgrade my gear. Essentially, all I did was basically just made it a little better than what it was. I wasn't able to smith it any better. In other words, it's still, I think it's considered unique or something, or superior, maybe? I forget what it's called. Anyway, I'm still kind of there in the mid-range as far as smithing goes. But my enchanting skill has gone up since the last time I made any gear, which was, oh geez, back when I first got my Forsworn stuff, however long ago that was. And basically I put extra one-handed damage on one piece of jewelry and I think my boots, and then I put extra archery damage on another piece of jewelry and my headpiece. And then I gave myself, instead of boosting my stamina, I gave myself boosted stamina regen. Notice my stamina will go up a little bit faster. That applies while you're fighting to a certain extent, although you're still going to be using stamina, but it applies even more so once you completely run out of stamina, as your bar tends to fill up a little faster. And what you'll find is if you put that on, say, a couple pieces of gear, basically as soon as you're out of stamina, you'll get a sliver of stamina back, even if you completely empty your stamina pool. It only takes a second to get just a little bit back, and as long as you have some stamina, you can still pull off the power attack. So even though it may not quite give you endless stamina, you are able to, in an extended fight, you're able to pull off an extra few power attacks where otherwise you'd normally be sitting there all out of breath and everything with your stamina bar flashing where you can't pull off any. So this gives you a little bit more to deal with. Anyway, so I chose to go that way. Also, as I'm leveling here, I keep track of my stamina and my health. And when you boost your stamina, when you go to level, it counts the added stamina. So say you've got extra 38 points of stamina. Well, instead of, say, 200, it's going to say 238 on your stamina bar. Unless you know exactly how much you've got buffed at any given time, then it can kind of mess up where you're putting your health and stamina points, at least for me. I like to go back and forth. Basically, once I get both to 300, I kind of see where I'm at from there, as far as my gear goes and stuff. But when all's said and done, I'll probably have 350 stamina and then 350 health, not counting any buffs. As it is, I'll probably wind up with bonus stamina and bonus stamina regen on pieces of gear, and then this is when I can double enchant. And probably have at least one upgrade for my light armor rating, which I don't even think I found that enchantment yet. I don't think it's available. I just haven't found a piece of gear with that on it. I haven't really been looking at the merchants either. Haven't been all that worried about it. But at some point, I'm going to need to either go find that or something. But I'll upgrade gear with that. And then everything else is going to go to one-handed and bow damage. Matter of fact, it'll be one-handed and bow damage until I run out of stuff to put that on. Between my ring, necklace, gauntlets, boots, and what I see, Luthgard, it took her away from me. So now I'm kind of on my own until I can find Brynjolf and Carlisle. So, like I say, this is a Thieves Guild mission. There's no shame sneaking. Get past some of this. There'll be some dwarven constructs that'll pop up if I just come tromping through here with my big lead boots on. So, I think I'm gonna go the sneaky route. For one, to make this faster, and two, is I don't feel like facing any master dwarven spheres right now and going toe-to-toe with them for 10 minutes. Much better to take the easy route on this one. It's yeah, anyway, any slots that I can't put extra one-handed and extra bow damage on, you're really going to be surprised if you guys haven't gone this route. Like, I know some who play the sneaky sneak, you'll go with the Nightingale armor. And I believe it's the gauntlets give you, like, oh, I don't know, 15 times extra sneak damage or something with daggers. Well, you can also pick that as a perk on your sneak tree. And so when you stack those two, that's a lot of dagger damage. You're talking about one-shotting pretty much anything as long as you get a successful sneak attack on it. Well, in this case, I'm not using daggers as far as that goes. I do have a small bonus for sneak attacks with one-handed weapons and bows. That also comes in the skill tree. And believe it or not, daggers do not count as one-handed weapons, so those do not stack, if anyone's curious. The 15% extra damage, and then what I think it's 6 times extra damage for the one-handed weapons. Those aren't considered the same thing. Daggers, believe it or not, are not a one-handed weapon. In Skyrim stats or whatever, daggers are a weapon in and of themselves. They're unique. They don't get really any of the one-handed bonuses. They get their own bonuses, but they are a over-the-top sneak weapon, which is specifically what they're designed for. They're really not designed to be a melee combat weapon. I mean, you can use them that way, and you know, if you got a decent enough build and good enough gear, you know, you can run with 2 daggers and go toe-to-toe with somebody. That's fine. But if you're just wondering why you don't get quite the damage output face-to-face that you do with other weapons, is they don't get most of the one-handed bonuses. I don't think they benefit from the extra speed as far as one-handed attacks go, and even if they do, dagger power attacks have their own little animation which slows them down greatly. And then anyway, like I say, daggers get crapped on a lot. I mean, they have an advantage like no other weapon as far as sneak attacks goes, but that's about it. That's about all they get. And in every other category, they're just shit on, seriously. All right, so anyway, once I stack extra damage, whatever I could get out of enchantment. We're talking about, I'm not going to make some super uber enchanting potions either. If I use one, it'll be one that I find on a shelf. I won't even be making one as far as that goes. If I don't happen to have one, I'm just not going to use one. All right, and same goes with a blacksmithing potion. I found some elixirs and stuff laying around, and when I do smith my last set of gear, I may slug one of those down to give my armor a little bit better rating. They don't last very long, and also I like to name my gear when I make my final set, and that takes up a lot of precious time in your from your smithing potions. So I don't know. I may even include that in the video when I actually make my gear to show you all how I kind of separate that out a bit. Which mainly enchanting. You know, smithing is, I mean, kind of obvious. In fact, I'm not even making my stuff as far as that goes. I'm using Forsworn armor and longbows, which you can't make either. I'll make my own iron swords, and that's about it. Or maybe axes. I might wind up turning to axes at some point. Now that my stamina pool is getting pretty big, I think I can afford to start running with axes. Axes tend to stagger more, and they're not that much slower. Once you get both your speed perks under your one-handed tree, applying towards your axes, they're not that much slower than swords, and they do stagger a lot. And when you can knock enemies off balance a lot, then that's huge. I also thought I would test something, and this is this will be something that's new to me because I'm really not sure about it. I've never bothered to pick these perks for one reason: is the extra critical chance, which I think that comes with swords. Is you get a bonus, or maybe any one-handed weapons, but I think it's the perk that you get with swords, and it's extra chance to score a critical hit. And I've never really bothered with that because that's kind of wasted points. You think, well, critical hits with a sword is great. It only applies towards the base damage of that weapon, and it's only like an extra, I think it's like 1.25 or 1.5 times the damage. So if your weapon does 10, you'll get an extra like 2 points out of it or something, or an extra maybe even 5. So instead of 10, you get 15. And base damages aren't all that high on the weapons in Skyrim. You'll get a lot of your bonus damage from enchantments and things like that. And then, you know, any buffs you get from a particular skill tree or whatever. But it only applies towards just the base damage of that weapon. And so it was never really worth having. But if a critical strike also staggers, that is something to consider. Because if you pull off a lot of criticals and you get a lot higher stagger chance, then I guess it probably wouldn't matter what weapons you're using, whether you're using maces or axes or swords or whatever. So that was just a thought. I might experiment with it. If I have extra points to play with later, I might actually upgrade that part of the one-handed tree. I've never bothered before. I go with the ones that give you more damage overall, and then more power attack damage, which is huge because you notice I spam a lot of power attacks. That's where your strength is, especially when dual wielding, is lots and lots of power attacks, and that's why stamina is so important. So there is, I guess, a little thought into the build here in Skyrim. I've been asked, like, you know, like on, you know, Facebook groups and stuff that I'm a part of, you know, it's like, what's the best build for Skyrim? And my answer, and it's really not to be sarcastic, it's really true, is pick a weapon, put your points in that particular skill tree, voila, there's your Skyrim build. Pick an armor, put your points into that armor tree, and that's it. You know, pick a magic and put your points into that magic tree. You know, you can't really go wrong with any of the passives in there. You know, they're all going to help you in some way, type of thing. And that's really it. There's not a lot of sacrifices to be made. And one thing I'm really not a fan of with one of the DLCs is they gave you the opportunity to reset your skills. So if it...
Mercer's been here. I hope we aren't.
Now here's Carlisle and Brynjolf. Good deal.
Brynjolf and I found them like that. Mercer's doing. We have to catch up to him before it's too late. We should tread carefully. I wouldn't be surprised if he's left behind a few surprises for us.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Crime is one
Expect to see a lot of traps.
Is another.
As soon as we open the door, it's a morning star to the face. But with Skyrim, there's really no like skill trees where you have to pick and choose. And one huge part of making a build in any game is making sacrifices to get what you want. Like if I want extra critical chance, then I may have to give up defense, or I may have to give up a particular kind of damage, or I may have to give up something, you know, attack speed or whatever. There will be sacrifices to make, and the best builds squeeze the most out of a character based on the skills that you have to work with and the number of points you have to assign. If there's 100 available skills and you only have 25 points to spend, you have to pick and choose your skills carefully and make sure they all have some synergy with one another. Dragon Age is really good about that. All 3 Dragon Ages, especially 2. Dragon Age 2 was, oh man, they were on top of their game. The different kinds of builds based on the equipment you used and how your party was made up and what exactly you wanted to do. There was just, it was almost infinite. It was amazing. Inquisition, not so much, but they still were along the same lines. Well, Skyrim, not really. If you have to sacrifice something, then you just go make that particular skill legendary with whatever that crap is in the DLC, and then just get more points and spend them until you've got all your skill trees filled up. Well, what's that? It's not a build. The build is not get every skill that there is to have in the history of skills ever. There's no thought put into that, and it sounds like a criticism. It is a little bit, but I don't think that's what they were really leaning towards in this. I think in Skyrim, rather than coming up with a build per se, they just challenged the players to play the game and experience it, and the more you did, the more you got, until you could have essentially everything and be uber powerful and what have you. And there was a little bit of that in Fallout. In New Vegas, at least, they made you make some choices, if you think about it. This is one bright side of New Vegas, is that they gave you a perk every other level, and even with all the DLCs, there was still a level cap, and you're still only going to wind up with, what, like 25 perks out of a possible, I don't know, say 50, or even more, or something like that. There was at least some thought to put into it, and true enough, with all the DLC in New Vegas, you could essentially get all your skills to 100, at least real close. And then if you factored in the magazines and the books and all the different buffs they gave you, because they had so much crafting in terms of food and meds and chems and stuff, that you could get anything to 100, basically. In fact, you could get something to 60 or 70 and still get it to 100 with the right combination of chemicals and food and drinks and magazines and whatever, and temporary stuff. And then one DLC, they made the option of even making your own skill magazines and skill books, right, if you were short any. So they allowed you to basically fill out your character by the end of the matter. But when New Vegas first came out, when New Vegas first came out, after they fixed the bugs that made it actually playable. I know the PC guys didn't have a lot of problems, but if you remember, if you were a Xbox or PS3 player, there were a lot of bugs when it first started. In fact, the first night, I think my Xbox froze, 10 times? It was unplayable, you know. Anyway, once they finally got it to that point to where you could actually play, the level cap was 30, and that gave you 15 perks, essentially, once you were max level. And true enough, they started pumping out DLC pretty early, so you didn't have to wait a long time. Like with Fallout, you had to wait a minute before they came out with, like, Broken Steel and raised the level cap and stuff. But Fallout 3, they gave you a perk every level. By the time you were level 20, you were overpowered. You know, and as beautiful as that game was in every way, it did have a little of the Skyrim to it, in that you did become overpowered. It wasn't so much challenging yourself with the difficulty of the game. You were just experiencing it. You were just exploring. You were just running around, and you were basically in story mode by the time the game was over. And I guess that was kind of the idea with them. Me personally, I like to be challenged a little bit. But cool thing is, Fallout 3, if you remember our Let's Play, well, you limit yourself on some stuff. Limit yourself to certain weapons. Limit yourself to a certain kind of armor. Run around in clothing instead of a big set of power armor. And it raised the difficulty a little bit, you know. There's some stuff that can 1- and 2-shot you, so you actually have to think about it a little bit. And you can keep it challenging while you still experience the game world, so good enough. And Skyrim, you notice we're doing that here too. We are limiting ourselves in weapons and armor. One of you viewers actually asked that. It's like, why are you using such low-level weapons? Well, it's a personal challenge thing. Is to keep the game fun. When you played something enough where you know where most of the enemies are at in the game, you know kind of what to expect. You know, before you even turn a corner, you got an idea, okay, there's going to be some Draugr here, there's going to be that there, look for fire traps, look for this, look for that. Then you kind of need to set some limits to keep the game challenging, I guess you could say. A lot of it just becomes routine, you know. I mean, there's only so many Draugr-filled caves that you can go through before you kind of learn what to expect from them, or what have you. And in this, it requires at least some thought put into the build, is that... like, as much as I like to summon, you notice I haven't put a single point in the Magicka. I really need all those points in health and stamina. I really do. To play out my character the way I like to play it out. And as far as skill points goes, I could just throw everything into the one-handed tree, throw everything else into the light armor tree, and then anything that I might have left over, then the archery tree. You know, that's pretty much what I'm doing. And there's nothing that I really have to give up. All I have to do is just wait till the points are available to put them in there. Not a whole lot of thought in that, but at least there is something to be put into you know, the way I enchant my gear and the way I build my character and where I assign my attribute points. Not a whole lot of thought, true enough, but some, at least. Like I say, it's been challenging enough. There's been some spots in here where we're getting one-shot. Everything in here right now can one-shot me. Everything. Basically all these, unless it just says a normal just Falmer. Okay, but the Shadow Masters and whatever else you have in here, Night Prowlers and stuff, those will one-shot you on this difficulty with this type of gear anyway. And so there's a little something to it. Anyway, so I guess when I say Skyrim build in this, it's more playstyle, more a focus, being placed specifically on, you know, okay, since I'm a melee character, staying true to something of a stamina build, and doing specifically that. And regardless of what equipment I might be using, I would still probably stay true to this. The amount of magic I have, and with just one simple little buff on, you know, one of my pieces of equipment, I can get by. I can get by with that. I can summon what I need to. And all I really have to worry about is having enough stamina to pull off my power attacks and having enough health to take a hit, which I'm still not quite there yet. I think maybe if I had some fully upgraded, I don't know, say glass armor or something, you know, something leveled. Let's say I'm going to stick with light armor. Okay, well then, let's see, what is it? It's glass and elven, then glass, then anything after that? Is glass armor it? I think one of the DLCs introduced a new level. Like, they got Dragonbone, then they have, what is it, Solstein or something? Solstein Steel or something like that. I think they added a new heavy. I think they added a new light also. Dragon Scale? Is Dragon Scale? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not worried about it. After fur armor, I'm just sticking with this old junk anyway, so not a big deal. But, you know, there's going to be a huge armor difference between the highest tier stuff and basic fur armor. I mean, there really is. Alright, so I'm kind of trusting Carlisle and Brynjolf to be tanking for me, drawing most of the enemy attention. And it seems like I'm scary. I really am. One of these Shadow Hunters or one of these Night Prowler guys with a bow, when I say one shot, I'm not exaggerating. That's one kill, and they can hit me so hard that I could come back to life and they could kill me again with that same arrow. I mean, seriously. I don't know what their damage modifier is. But, I don't know, let's say their bow says they're supposed to do, say, 20 damage, and their arrow says they're supposed to do 10. They're hitting me for like 500. That's through my armor and my resistances and everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. So my health is right at 300 now, and they're one-shotting me to where I go straight to death animation. It's not even a matter of showing me even getting hurt. It's a matter of the arrow hits me, and it immediately it's a kill animation instantly. That type of thing, so... Like I said, I don't know what the multiplier is and what the final number is, but it's well over whatever my health is after my armor is factored in. That's all I know. I won't share with you guys the few gory deaths I suffered in here. We'll just keep going from area to area and just not talk about it. Just pretend it didn't happen. Actually, it wasn't too bad running through here. Mistakes were made, but not too many. I guess the one difference to recording this and sharing with you guys gameplay, and I want to play through the story, is deaths can be funny, but sometimes deaths can happen at really, really inopportune moments. Like, say your save times between loading screens are few and far in between, say 30, 40, 50 minutes apart, and I get through an entire area, get to the very end, and do something stupid, step on a trap or something and die, 40 minutes into a clip, which has happened, right? I'm not going to replay that I'm not going to drag you guys through the entire 40-minute clip again. Just, you know, as hilarious as it may be sometimes. Any of you guys want to see me die a lot, we can just go stream. Which, speaking of that, streaming. Bring this up again, and I'll probably mention this a few more times. Any of you guys want to join me, and this would be great. I think you can pretty much set your clocks to this if any of you guys are interested, because I don't see any reason why I can't do this unless I don't know, unless my little broadcaster thing is messes up or something. But I was thinking about streaming Fallout 3 starting Halloween night, which most of you guys will probably be out busy dressing up like Michael Myers and stuff and scaring little kids. But for those of you that aren't doing that, and streaming, usually with me, there's really no set time. Like, I don't stream for an hour. I don't stream from, like, you know, 9 Central to just 10 Central or whatever. Usually I'll get on, anyone who's ever jumped into one of my streams, we might stream for 10, 12 hours straight. We might. About the only time I'm going to step away is pretty much if I got to get a video up. I've done that a few times mid-stream, like say, hey guys, I'll be back in 15 minutes, run upstairs and get my video uploaded for the day and come right back down and get back to playing. Did that a lot with Inquisition. Inquisition, at one point, we streamed almost every day for anywhere from 8 to, 12 or more hours a day. Oh, this went on for a while. It was a lot of fun. We tested out different builds. Some of the Inquisition build videos that I made were made from those streams with some of you guys present. That was a lot of fun. But anyway, I was thinking about streaming Fallout 3 because about the time Halloween rolls around, I'm going to start getting the jitters. I'm going to start having withdrawals. I'm going to need some Fallout in my life. Fallout 4 is coming out on the 10th, and I think 10 or 11 days is enough to get a playthrough. And it's not going to be a start to finish solid run of Fallout 3. We're just going to play. I'm going to pick a character, and we're just going to wander around the wasteland and experience Fallout for those days leading up to Fallout 4's release. And hopefully I'll get a bunch of Skyrim set up and maybe be wrapping it up around that time. Boy, it'd be neat if all that just fell into place and it all just worked out like that. But I'll have my Skyrim videos already in the bank, so I can put them up each day, maybe even twice a day sometimes. And we'll start to wrap that up around that time. I'd like to finish up obviously around the time that Fallout 4 comes out. I don't know how much time I'm going to spend with it back in a quiet room before I actually get on and start recording and start doing a Let's Play. There's the thought of just doing a completely blind one, full of everything included in that. One thing I like to do personally with RPGs, especially of this type, Elder Scrolls, Fallout type stuff, Inquisition, is learn a bit about the game, learn something about the story and where to find things and where to do things, and then I have no problem coming back and reliving those moments and sharing my experiences with you guys. It's just as fresh to me on the big games like this. It's just as fresh to me the 20th time through as it is the first time, pretty much. Sometimes even more so, because I can avoid a lot of the going into a room and looking in every corner twice. I spend a lot of time looking around and investigating and seeing what's up and going back and forth in my menus and checking out what's working with what. Okay, well, I put so many points into the special stat. Now I'm going to go out and test it. And I'm going to go kill stuff and see how it works, and see how it works with which weapons and how weapons interact differently based on what my stats are, and blah, blah, blah. And on top of that, then I may have a character, and I think it's beautiful in character creation. I actually get it in game, and it looks like a donkey's ass, and I'm like, wow, that sucks. And even if I spent 3 hours in character creation, I just go back and start over. Just delete that character because something's wrong with the eyes, or the nose isn't quite right, or the chin's a little too big or small. I mean, seriously, I have no problem going back and washing that, or getting 10 or 15, even 20 levels, a full day and a half, 2 days into a character, and realizing, no, I'm not a big fan of this build, and just deleting it. I have no problem with that. If I know I'm going to spend 2,000 hours in a game overall, over the lifetime of that game, like I'm still playing Skyrim here, still playing Fallout 3 and stuff. If I know I'm going to put the time in, 20, 30, 40, 60 hours into a character is nothing. That's just the learning curve as far as that goes. So I like to do that, and then I have something to share about that game when I get into it. I like to experience the story for myself, draw some conclusions, find out who I like and dislike, and I could share that process with you guys, but 90% of that is me going into an area and looking in every single corner, double and triple backtracking on a particular area to make sure I didn't miss anything. Was there a chest? Was there a safe back here? Was there a door that I could open back here? Hey, what was that I saw in that corner? What does this poster say over here? Does that give a clue as to the lore or the storyline, or does that give a hint as to a new location I can explore? Well, is there a location over there? Travel across the map just to go look. Find out that there isn't. Come back. And you're talking 8, 10, 12 hours done just mindlessly looking around, which I enjoy for myself, but I wouldn't drag you guys through that. But so what I try to give you guys is the accumulated knowledge of my playthroughs when I do decide to actually record and stuff and share with you guys. So that's what my Let's Plays are usually about. So if I can share anything about a game, it's what I've personally experienced. Not so much by going onto a wiki and reading up on it or whatever, but what I experienced in the game. My take on some of the politics in the game, or some of the characters, or what this person did, whether it's right or wrong, and all the different things that the game throws at you. I'll draw my conclusions. And I will experience the game on a level as far as how my character is built, right? And then my character's interaction with the world, and then my take on the world in general, right? And then I get all that and kind of bundle it up and kind of you know, pass my personal rating on the game. Is this the best game ever? Which some of these games, while I'm in the middle of playing them, you'll hear me say that out loud to myself. This is the best game ever, man. You know. And lots of new games like that. And each one I play, you'll find me saying that. And once I get that, then I can come back. And once I've got a playthrough and I have an idea on my builds and stuff, then I can come back and share with you guys. And you know, a big part of that with my channel, it's not just the Let's Plays. It's particular character builds, and it's usually the ones that I've played. I don't share a lot on stuff I don't know, because if I don't know it, what the hell am I trying to share it for? You know what I mean? Like, you don't see, like, archer builds. I've been asked for archer builds on Inquisition. Never really played one. Don't really have anything to share. Haven't put a lot of thought into it, unless I went back and specifically said, okay, if I'm going to play an archer, how would I do this? That would require going back and doing another playthrough, because what I would do is I would get that character up to level 20 and figure out what ticks and what works and some of the hidden mechanics in the game, or whatever I could find, and I would say, okay, this is the best thing I can come up with. And if it's something that's trash or garbage compared to other archer builds, I would be embarrassed by that. I just wouldn't bother. And I'd say, you know, guys, I don't have one. And that's okay to say I don't know, right? Well, I hope you guys agree with that it's okay to sometimes say I don't know. I have nothing to share on that. And if I try to share something I don't have, I just look like an idiot, in my opinion. And so I try not to do that. So, anyway, wow, I cannot believe he can't see me right here. Remember what I was saying about only having just 1 point into the sneak tree? I mean, I have a lot of points in some of the perks, but as far as that first one, where, you know, it makes you 20% harder to detect, 40%, 60%, I only have 1 point in that. And that dude walked right in front of me and didn't see me, so there you have it. I think the perk where you can walk or run and it doesn't affect detection, I think that plays a huge part of that. I think that kind of sews that whole thing together. And if you can be patient and wait till you get that perk without dumping a bunch of points into that first perk, where it makes you harder to detect, I think that it rewards you later and helps you save a few points. All right, so anyway, and I've been told by some of you guys, and I want to say that I really appreciate it, is a few of you have said, don't change. Just keep doing what you're doing. So on one hand, I would love to be recording and introducing Fallout 4 to you guys the day that it's released, because selfishly I'll get I'll get more views that way. I mean, I think more people would tune in, and I would like more people to come to the channel and be viewers. Not just for the views, but to have lots of people come and hang out and share and watch the stuff. I mean, you know, it's not all about me as far as that goes. No, I would just like to have a lot more of you guys, really, really cool people, come and watch the videos on this channel. You guys got to agree. I mean, some of y'all, well, all y'all are just really cool. So, I like that. But then, you know, selfishly, as far as the channel is concerned, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, is introducing Fallout 4 earlier would probably draw more interest, by and large, for more people, and there's that would be cool. That'd be cool too. I mean, if you do something, you want it to be recognized and you want it to be appreciated. So there is that, but I don't want to give you guys some half-rate stuff. So at the expense of maybe promoting, you know, viewership of my stuff, I'd rather have something quality to pass along to you guys, because I don't really so much know how to share anything otherwise. If that makes sense. So anyway, that's my plan. That's my plan, is to get in there and have a few days to spend with Fallout 4 and get an idea on how I'd build, how I'd play. And when we play, we're going to do it on very hard, or whatever they consider the higher difficulty setting on it. I'm assuming it's going to be very hard. That's the way it was on Fallout 3 in New Vegas. So unless they've changed that.
So this is what we heard. The entire tower collapsed.
We're going to play it like that, just right off the top. We're not going to play it any other way, so we're not going to get spoiled with an easier setting and then try to crank it up. We're just going to start like that and go in with it. And there'll be a bit of a learning curve on that, too, because, like, the gunplay mechanics, what can you get away with? How many shots can you take from a particular type of enemy? With all the weapons that are going to be in the game, for all I know, on very hard, when you start out, any kind of laser or any kind of bullet can essentially one-shot you. And if it's going to be like that, then there's going to be some learning of enemy placement and stuff like that to get a hold of, because yeah, it's probably going to be kind of brutal. It depends. From the gameplay that I'm looking at, from what I've seen on the trailers and stuff, it looks pretty smooth. Looks more like a true first-person shooter, though you can still play in third person. It still has that you know, that Call of Duty look and feel to it. I haven't put my hands on the controller, obviously, so I don't know firsthand exactly how smooth and how responsive it's going to be. Not knocking Fallout 3 or New Vegas, but there was a bit of sluggishness. Sometimes, you know, you'd move around, and where you were aiming, well, your gun wouldn't necessarily always point just that direction. Not all the time, you know. Sometimes it was a little slow to react, and the bullets, they didn't really seem to go where you pointed them, type of thing. There was a little bit of that. And as fun as it was, it didn't have that really smooth, polished first-person shooter feel. At least it never did to me. It looks like they've introduced a lot of that here in Fallout 4, so that's going to be exciting to see. All right, so remember I was saying this is going to be more than a one-part? As I've been sitting here rambling on for, oh geez, 40 minutes or better, and we're not even halfway through this place. So rather than grind this out and make a cinema-length feature here, I'm probably going to cut this off here. Look around this room, see what havoc Mercer has created, and disarm some bear traps, what have you. And then we'll go ahead and cut it off here, and then we'll start up the next one. From here. Oh, he left one gold piece behind, huh? Well, that was nice of him. That was nice of him. Left bear traps there. He must have come in with a pocket full of bear traps. I seriously doubt the farmer left these behind for us, right? Anyway, all right, guys. So like I said, remember, on starting Halloween and through till Fallout 4 release, I plan on daily streaming, nightly streaming, Fallout 3 for all of us. So hope to see some of you guys there. All right. That'll do it for this one, and we'll start from these ominous opening doors into the next cavern on the next one. All right? Thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button up top. And if you want to catch this Let's Play up to this point, you can click that image in the middle. It should take you straight to the playlist. All right? And other than that, y'all take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.